Yo, we're back with Dave. Dave's won again with BlackWarGreymon. You want to take us through your list?
Yep. Alright, so gonna do my eggs first. So there's pretty much only two choices for eggs. Like we can disregard this. It's either this Koromon from BT5 or the I think it's the BT9 Koromon that gives you plus 1000 DP.
Yep.
Really depends if you want the DP or the card draw, really, at the end of the day. If you want the DP, which is really good in the mirror match, go for that one. If you want the card draw like I do, you can run the 4 Koromon and the 1 Greymon. You don't have to just run the 4 Koromon. Doesn't matter. Not until next set, when we have that Agumon who digivolves for only 0 on Koromon, you get rid of this. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Before that, you just play these 5 eggs if you want to draw cards. Alright, cool. Rookies.
How many Agu?
I've done a few BlackWarGreymon profiles. You'll notice that these 4 Agumons are in every single one of them. Plus 2000 DP, good. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's super important in the mirror match, which you're going to play a lot of. You need to have that DP to beat over boss monsters. Also, it's nice not to die to Death X and security. As we'll go through the deck, and as you probably know, because this deck is everywhere, you get a lot of protections from stuff. The only thing you're not protected from is battle. That's why Grandis is such a brutal matchup for this deck. But you also just need DP. Like, it's the reason we play the red base, not the black base. It's literally just for this card, I'd say. Just so you don't die to Death X and security. So, yeah, get this. There's a couple of budget options for this, but this is probably the best one you're going to get.
Yeah, I think it's the BT8 one. Oh no, the starter deck one, that's a budget option, yeah.
So, next 4 of is Agumon X Anybody. Not as important now than it was before, because a lot of Greymon's protections was stripping 2 sources at the same level. There's none of that in this deck at all. I've seen some decks still run like 1 or 2 copies of those cards, which is fine, but I don't personally. This is so having 2 of these on your stack isn't as important. It's literally just a searcher rookie. Gets you Greymon pieces, gets you your X Anybody card, which can be pretty relevant as well. Plus, you know, just slapping down a Searcher Agumon, then putting this on top, draw, tap a cool boy, like you just get so much card advantage from that. Next one, 3 of the black Agumon. Now you could probably either run this or the red BT5 Agumon, I believe it is. Doesn't really matter. Like, the reason I run the black Agumon, I actually don't run. I think there's only 1 champion I run that's red. So you pretty much don't, in this, if you follow this deck list, you're not going to get clunky with this, plus adding 2 cards, the Dragonkin and the Greymon, and just flipping 1 extra card is super important. It is a stack deck, you have to not brick as many times as you can, and this is definitely one of those cards that helps you do that. Pretty much the budget version of the Agumon I showed you before. I just wanted a 5th one to put on my stack. I've even considered maybe cutting one of these for another one of these, but yeah, it's just to have a 5th like DP boost. Obviously not as good as the promo Agumon, but it's a good substitute if you don't see it, and a good budget version if you don't want to splash cash on the other Agumons. Alright, so into the champions, another one, you know, ever since BT8, I think I've done a deck profile for this deck like for like every set, and these 4 cards have been in every single one. Block is really good, helps you control the board, especially it's great with Greymon. It's obviously amazing with just regular BlackWarGreymon, and it's really good with the BlackWarGreymon X as well, because you get the redirect and you get the block. So yeah, really good card. Alright, now for some new cards. This card's pretty broken, to be honest. So digivolves for 0 on a Greymon. So normally I digivolve this when I come out of raising, so I can trigger my cool boys and things like that. The other thing it does is on your turn, any metal Greymon that goes on top of that, or I think it's just a Greymon, has Greymon in its name, you reduce the Digi evolution cost by 1 for each color it has. All of our level 5s have 2 colors, black and red, so you're going to reduce those by 2 for each one, which just helps you turbo into your megas like a turn early, which is just lets you squeeze a little bit more into a turn and lets you go a little bit faster, especially if you have a few cool boys on the field. Also, it's inheritable. Is if you have an X Anybody option card in the stack, you can remove it from your stack to prevent any deletion effects or any bounce to hand or deck effects as well. So it also is a bit of a protector card. So this one's probably just replaced the old BT9 Greymon X. You don't need to run that really anymore. I know some people run 1 or 2 of it, but you don't really need it if you have this. I just have a 1 of Greymon security attack. To be honest, it doesn't come up that often. Like you could run another Greymon in here, or if you don't like the ratios, if you want another champion, you could run 2. But yeah, I just have it there just in case I don't see any of my other champions. So that's all the champions. Only 9 champions for this list. Go on to Ultimates. Another card that's been in BlackWarGreymon forever. Metal Greymon. The good thing about this card is a lot of the times in past metas, because you need to protect your stack for a while, you'd normally digivolve this in the back, so you can go into your Mega in the same turn. You wouldn't have to leave this Metal Greymon out on field by itself for a turn. This allows you to like digivolve into this, then go into your Mega. So getting this digivolve effect actually comes up a fair bit in this meta now. So you get the digivolve and you get to pop like a 3000 DP, rookie most of the time. So yeah, really good. This was always an amazing card. This has just like really helped this card out. Also, the inheritable is amazing. Attacking unsuspended Digimon. That's really important for the mirror match, funnily enough, because BlackWarGreymon has a lot of them have reboot, and if you don't have anything that can attack unsuspended Digimon, you're not going to be able to deal with their stack. So really important in the mirror match, but just all round great card. Alright, another new card is the new Metal Greymon X Antibody. This card's insane. So when you digivolve, when you just digivolve, you don't even have to have Metal Greymon underneath. You just get protection from D-digivolve, which is obviously really important in the mirror match again. And you don't get any DP reduction. Not that there's a ton of DP reduction going around. If you do have Metal Greymon in the source, you get to pop something 6k or less. That's not like super relevant, but it does come up sometimes. The other thing is, your opponent's turn, when a Digimon unsuspends on your opponent's turn, you just trash one of their security cards. So trashing security cards obviously is amazing. You don't activate tamers, you don't activate option effects, all those, like even memory boosts, things of that nature. So there's, trashing is just a really good effect. Also, you don't need to worry about your opponent having to do unsuspending, because most of our Megas have reboot, and the reboot will trigger that trash effect as well. Alright. Now onto the Megas. I run 2 BlackWarGreymon. I know some people have different ratios for Megas in this deck. I like BlackWarGreymon. I don't think it's like absolutely amazing, mainly because it doesn't really get a blitz effect. The other 2 Megas, one of them just has blitz, and the other one you can pseudo blitz with the X antibody option. Well, you can't do that with this. So it doesn't do as much when it hits the board compared to the other 2 Megas, but it's still good for some tamer hate and like some control tools. Usually what I try and do is get some protections from X antibody options off the Greymon or from Yuya, slap this on board, then maybe play a Hades Force, and then slap this on top the turn after, and then re-trigger that Yuya to re-protect that stack. But to be honest, most matchups I'm not too upset if I miss this in the game. Next one is the new BlackWarGreymon. So this one's a really good control card. Has reboot, so obviously having reboot with blocker and that Metal Greymon inheritable that tracks security cards is really good. Also has an effect if a Digimon unsuspends on your opponent's turn, which includes this reboot, it'll destroy their, I think it's lowest play cost. Yeah, with the lowest play cost. And also you can redirect 1 attack per turn into it, as long as it's the Digimon on your opponent's field with the highest DP. So really good control card, really good at slowing the game down. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Now, I play 3 Gaimon. I personally like Gaimon over the other 2, just because it's a little bit more aggressive. It still has the reboot. You have the blocker underneath, it can still block once. The reason I like it so much is you go into it, you probably have a Yuya triggered, so you have pretty good protection and a lot of DP. You swing in, you check 2 checks, next turn you reboot and you trash one of their cards, leaving them at 2 security. Leaving that, it's an amazing amount of security pressure, like leaving your opponent on 2 security in like turn 3 or 4, like can really, you know, put the pressure on them to really respond to you. So I really like this card. I really like it for just closing games out a little bit quicker. Also, it's really good in the mirror match as well, so that's why I run 3 of it. So that's it for most of the Digimon. The only tech Digimon I run is Death X. Still run it there, it's still a really good card. Like, you could probably cut this for something else if you really don't like it, but I personally like to have at least one Death X in almost every deck. Option cards, 3 X Antibody. BlackWarGreymon never used to really play X Antibody, it does now, mainly because the Greymon X's effect of trashing this and you know, having protection. Also for BlackWarGreymon X, if you need to do the pseudo blitz with this, it's really good for that. Also, it's just a nice little security bomb as well. So I know some people run it at 2. I prefer it at 3 because I don't think like you're ever going to really get bricky with it, to be honest. Like, usually you can slow the game down enough to make 2 stacks even if you have 2 of them, and even if one pops out of security, it's like a pretty good security bomb, like I said. So that's why I run 3 of that. Hades Force. Hades Force is really busted. Disregard the 7 play cost. You pretty much always play this for 5. Another reason why I run 3 X Antibody, because if you have an X Antibody in your stack, this costs 5 instead of 7. So more or less what it does is it deletes either Digimon or Tamers up to the play cost of a Greymon on field. So I think Gaomon and BlackWarGreymon X both have play costs of 13. BlackWarGreymon has a play cost of 12. And you get to attack with a Greymon after it. So usually what I like to do is go into a Greymon stack. Doesn't really matter what Greymon. You know, you have protections from X Antibody and Yuya, which we will talk about soon. Normally your opponent can't answer that. They'll try and build normally they'll have no other real option but to like play cards and like play Tamers, and you go next turn, cool, slap down Hades Force and just destroy most of the stuff they've played that turn. And you get a free attack out of it as well. So yeah, it's a really good card. I could see it getting limited. I'm not sure if they will or not because it's pretty specific to Greymon decks, but yeah, personally I think it holds back a lot of different archetypes. This is my personal opinion. But anyway, while it's not limited, you probably want to at least play 2 of it. I personally like to play it at 3 because it's just a really good card. Next one, Yuya. So the memory tamers have bounced around in this deck a lot, like depending if you needed security attack or DP. I think this deck's mainly bounced in between Hero and Tai. Now that we have Yuya, there's like really no competition. Yuya has an effect when you digivolve into a same level Greymon, whether that's Greymon X, BlackWarGreymon X from BlackWarGreymon, or you know, Metal Greymon into Metal Greymon X. You suspend this and your stack can't be targeted by option cards for the rest of your turn and your opponent's turn. And like I said, you can do the sneaky play of going into a stack with BlackWarGreymon, getting the Yuya effect off either your Greymon X or your Metal Greymon X, having your BlackWarGreymon stick out there, then next turn either go into Gaomon or BlackWarGreymon X and then trigger Yuya again, and then there's like a whole nother turn. Your opponent, if they're an option, if they only have option cards to deal with your stack, they're just not going to be able to, like Setcon and things like that. It's another turn, they're not going to be able to do anything. Seen a lot of lists run this at 2. I really like it at 3 because there's just a few matchups you really need to see this card, like those option, like whether it's Mass Daemon with the Chaos Degrades or like Setcon with all the nonsense they can pull on you. You really need Yuya in those matchups. If you don't see it, it's pretty much a dead game. So yeah, really good card.
You know what's weird? The guy who won Oceanics played 1.
Yeah.
It's really weird, because I too think it's a cracked card.
Yeah, it's a really good card, but like I did notice the guy who played Oceania, like, was he the one that played promo BlackWarGreymon, or was that in the US?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But people were playing promo.
Yeah, but I feel like they were playing like more of an aggro deck if they're playing promo.
That's true.
So this is Cool Boy. Cool Boy's really broken. I probably don't need to explain too much about him. Cool Boy never used to get run in BlackWarGreymon, mainly because we did a lot of our digivolving in the back, to be honest, before now. Now with the Greymon X, Cool Boy is like a super good addition to this deck because you normally only have the black blocker Greymon in the back, then you go Greymon X, tap a few Cool Boys, you know, go into your Metal Greymon for 2, and then, you know, go into your Mega. I probably don't need to say too much about Cool Boy. Another card that's probably likely on the radar of Bandai's hit list as well, because it's not just super powerful in this deck; it's super powerful in a lot of decks as well. Probably just costs one less memory than one less memory than it should. But yeah, really good card. You should play at least, I'd probably say at least 3 of it in this deck. But four's amazing as well. So yeah, pretty much it.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for the deck profile. Hope you win with BlackWar and BT12 as well. So we got another BlackWar profile from Dave.
For every meta.
Every meta BlackWarGreymon.
No worries. Have a good one, guys.